I don't know about you, but I love a barbecue. In fact, I do know about you. You love a barbecue too. On average, us Brits enjoy over 400 barbecues during our lifetimes. Oh, delicious.
There is, however, a new type of barbecue on the market, powered by electricity. But why choose one over gas or charcoal models? They're particularly good for restricted places, say if you live in an apartment and only have access to a balcony rather than a garden. You can even use them indoors, and there's no need to store fuel. Today, I'm testing 2 electric barbecues at different price points to find out which offers the best value for money. The premium option is the Weber Lumin Compact. It weighs 12 kilos, has cast iron cooking grates, and costs £399. It's got a steam setting and a smoke infusion setting, which will apparently endow your food with an authentic barbecue flavour. We shall see. At around a quarter of the price is the budget option, the Cadac E-Bry. It's 2 kilos lighter, has a ceramic-coated cooking grid, and will set you back £112.50. Compact and simple, the blurb reckons you can be up and cooking within 4 minutes of plugging it in. We shall see. To test both of these machines, I've come to Mama Roo's, a very trendy street food bar in Birmingham. And helping me give our grills a proper grilling is the resident barbecuing expert here, Stephen Mitchell.
Steve, have you used electric barbecues before?
No, I've never used electric barbecues before, so I'm very curious to see how we get on today.
What are your first impressions?
The enamelled finish, to me, stands out as a much more quality product. But they're both a similar size, they're nice and portable. I set them up out the box, and they were really easy to put together.
We have 2 tests lined up, so let's head straight into the first one. Cooking the staples of any traditional barbecue. Cheeseburgers, hot dogs, and corn on the cob.
Now, one of the advantages of electric barbecue is that it should get to working temperature quicker. Both of these are off at the moment. Let's see how quickly they get there from a standing start.
We're going to try and set each barbecue to a target temperature of 200 degrees Celsius, perfect for grilling our meat medley, although that's not so simple on the premium Weber.
You don't set a particular temperature, but it's got a thermometer there. What should I put it on?
Yes, so let's aim for just a medium sort of setting at the moment. We'll see where that gets us to.
Medium.
Yes,
there we are.
Lovely.
The budget Cadac, however, has much more precise controls.
It's super easy. We just hold to turn it on.
Yep.
And then we've got a little knob that we turn.
It actually gives you a real target temperature.
That's the
200
target
degrees
temperature,
centigrade,
and then it will tell you where the temperature is currently, and it will show you as it builds up.
Which is 11, coming up for 12.
While the barbecue's heat controls differ, both devices did indeed get to temperature in the claimed 4 minutes.
What should we put on?
OK, so we'll start with the sausages. Sausages, we don't need quite as high a temperature. We want to cook them a little bit slower so they're not raw in the middle and overcooked on the outside.
The Weber's design means the grill is heated uniformly.
Aha, put those down.
Let's stick the lid on.
Another one in there.
Whereas the Cadac's circular grill heats the centre first.
I'm going to add the sausages around the outside.
Ah, so that'll mean they're cooking a bit slower.
And we can save the centre perhaps for when we put a burger on.
The burgers need the hotter 200-degree grill, so it's lids down to get the barbecues up to temperature and let our sausages sizzle.
Should we stick a burger on the Weber to start off with?
Why are you going for the burger in the Weber and not the Cadac?
Well, I can just tell the Weber is cooking much quicker. So the burgers we want to put on a nice high heat because we want to sear the outside so it's nice and crisp on the outside and juicy on the middle. And we're going to put a little bit of salt, pepper on the top as well.
Ah.
And so perhaps we could risk a burger on this one as well.
Yes.
Give it a go.
Yeah.
Lovely. Do you want to do the honours and perhaps stick it in the centre?
Right, we'll do. So it just goes in the centre.
Exactly.
We'll take that off. So there's room for another one.
Yep, lovely.
Aha.
Smashing. And we could go the whole hog and put some corn on as well, if you like.
Yes. Now, how do you balance the continual desire to look in versus...
Almost your most important tool is your lid. So most people will have it open and they'll be cooking straight on it, but that's when you get flare-ups. So keep the lid on as much as possible. Just take it off to have a look. As they say, if you're looking, you're not cooking.
Just 10 minutes later, and after a couple of lid-lifting flare-ups...
Oh,
and let's put the lid down again.
yeah, lid down.
Lovely.
We add cheese and bacon to the burgers, and Stephen starts plating up an Argentinian hot dog with all the trimmings.
This chimichurri, which is an Argentinian vinaigrette with lots of parsley, lots of red wine vinegar, olive oil.
And now the cheeseburger is all gooey and melted, it's ready to be served, alongside some Mexican street corn rolled in even more cheese.
This is a Mexican cheese, but you can use something like feta as well, works really well. And that's it, essentially.
Yeah.
While both trays of food look equally delicious, it's all about the tasting.
It all looks most appetizing.
And first up, the burger from the premium Weber.
What do you think?
This is the Weber. Is it slightly dry, I wondered?
Possibly. I think I would agree with you on that.
A disappointing start. How would our budget burgers compare?
I think the Cadac's burger is definitely moister.
Next, the hot dogs,
These is marvellous.
Thank you.
where it's safe to say both barbecues impress.
I'm not sure I can tell any difference between these two hot dogs.
I'm not seeing any different, absolutely. No, I'm happy with those, definitely.
And finally, the corn, where the Weber excels.
Nicely cooked through.
Isn't it?
But this time, the cheaper Cadac doesn't quite hit the spot.
I would say this one is not cooked through to the same extent.
It feels crisper and harder and
Yeah.
slightly less flavoursome, I have to say.
I would say so.
With the contents of the trays thoroughly tested, it's time for a verdict.
Well, we've managed to half eat everything, which is good. Impressions from me on the hot dog, I thought there was very little to choose between them, but I did slightly prefer the corn on the cob from the Weber. It seemed to have a more rounded cook. What do you think?
I think I definitely agree with that. I think possibly the burger, it took us a little bit of time to get to grips with temperature control on the Weber, so that might be why it cooked a little bit longer and dried out slightly. The sausages for hot dogs, I think, very little in it. Nothing I wasn't happy with in both.
So what's your overall impressions from the first round of testing?
Well, it's close, to be honest. I mean, I think, considering the cost, I think the Cadac performs really well. If money was no object, I think the Weber is possibly the way I'd go, but at the moment, it's too close to call. Well, low and slow is a really traditional cooking technique. We're basically cooking for in excess of 4 or 5 hours at a low temperature. We're going to go with some ribs, and all we're really adding is a little bit of a dry rub.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
So if we're going into the Weber, if you'd like to open up.
Will do. Ah. Now, the Weber comes with a smoker box.
Filling the Weber's smoker box with wood chips will apparently fill your food with a lovely smoky flavour.
I'm going to place those directly on top of there.
You put them on top of the smoker box.
Exactly, so we're not
Not on that side.
directly on top of the heat, we're a little bit away from the heat.
And what sort of temperature do you get to start with?
Traditionally smoking, we'd want to look at something about 105 to 115 degrees C.
So the Weber's going nicely.
Okay.
Let's get the Cadac on the way.
Okay, so a little bit more simple on this one.
Yeah.
We haven't got any smoke or any way to add smoked chips.
While you can buy aftermarket smoker accessories, to make this a fair test, we're going with what's in the box. So for the Cadac, it'll be a chipless cook.
Now, the temperature, we've got 120 degrees. Is that going to stay that for the course?
That's the plan, yes.
And with that, we leave our electric barbecues alone. For quite a long time.
What's your favourite sausage?
So it's been about 3 hours on these ribs, and we're going to think about wrapping them up now.
Wrapping the ribs in foil should mean they now steam in their own juices and become melt-in-the-mouth tender.
Okay, and that's it for now. We'll have another look in about an hour or so.
Excellent.
After another hour of tea drinking,
Have you got a favourite sausage?
I always... one of the best sausages I have is at a hotel in Lincolnshire.
the final stage of Stephen's process is to remove the foil and coat the ribs in a barbecue glaze
Onto the Cadac.
to add stickiness and colour.
Excellent.
Lovely.
And after another 30 minutes, our low and slow ribs are ready.
So I would say these ones look a little less dark. The Weber ones are a little darker.
Yeah. Right, let's taste them. Yes.
We'll start with the Weber. Just sort of a rib each there.
Very good.
Yes, on the bottom it is
Oh,
it
it
is
is, yes.
overcooked.
It is, yes.
Fortunately, that's where the bone is, so it's not affecting the meat all that much. And I would say the meat is nice and tender.
So it's looking promising.
Yeah. It's certainly tender enough, I would say. And there's a bit of smoked flavour in there. Would you say you can taste the smoke, John?
It doesn't come across as overpoweringly smoked at all, but there's almost more of an aftertaste than a taste. Well, let's move on. I don't want to move on. I want to finish it up.
And it's on to the Cadac.
You can see these ones are already a bit more what you might call fall off the bone.
Well, Personally, I actually prefer the flavour of this, but it tastes more of what it is.
That's interesting.
The Cadac juice is slightly juicier, really.
Yeah, I think so. I think this one seems a little bit more juicy and tender.
I'm not missing the smoke. I find I'm getting more of the flavour of the meat, actually.
I don't think that I would bother with the smoke again, to be honest.
So, in our final test, the Cadac produced the best ribs, but we're not sure about the Weber's smoke box.
Which one do you prefer overall?
I think, for me, the Cadac's probably one, to be honest. If I want something with more features and more flavour and more smoke, I'm always going to want to go back to charcoal and things. But if I want an electric barbecue that I can bring indoors even, do on a small balcony, plug and play, I think you can't really beat the Cadac, to be honest.
Well, so that's it then. The Cadac is the winner. Great day's testing, a fantastic day's eating. Can I have another rib, please?
Help yourself.